It is a joy to welcome you to the UU Fellowship of Harford County, situated on the native lands of the Susquehannock people. I'm Reverend Jay Brooks. My pronouns are she and her. Leading this service with me today is Worship Associate Kim Roberts, and at the piano, the very talented Brenna Kupferman. Yay, Brenna. We gather each Sunday morning on site and online to share in life's meaning, grow in care and community, and open our hearts and minds to the sacred truth known by many names.
We gather in community to restore the balance of our spirits, to celebrate the joys of life and find the strength to meet our sorrows, and in the earliest meaning of the word worship, to consider ideas that are worthy of our time and attention.
Unitarian Universalism is a religious tradition that values diversity and embraces the wisdom of all faiths. We use science, reason, and the gifts of the Spirit to explore life's mystery and meaning. In this tradition, we know that people need not think alike to love alike.
Whatever your heritage, however your history, and whomever you love, you are welcome here.
And today, it is a special joy to welcome two new members, Diane Anderson and Alex Anderson. Would you please come on over to the book, the membership book? The Andersons have recently moved to Aberdeen from Pittsburgh, where they were members of the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh. As they formally sign our membership book, our board president, Mark Davis, and all of you will witness their signatures. We are so happy to have you join us, especially with the enthusiasm and joy that you bring from your previous Unitarian Universalist experience. Thank you. How about welcoming? Please make sure to introduce yourselves, if you haven't already, to Diane and Alex after the service. And after the service, there are, just so you know, 3 boxes of recycling in the lobby. And you are absolutely invited to take one or all of them home with you and put them in your home recycling. That will be a big help to the fellowship.
Our life together is full of wonderful activities and programs, and I have a couple of announcements related to that. Tricia, you wanted to speak about the Holiday Bazaar collections? And one other thing as well.
I hope you don't all get tired of me standing up here. We are collecting for the Holiday Bazaar already, and as you put away your decorations and find decorations you haven't used for a while but still look really good, or gifts that you got that you really don't need or want, we take those because we have a large group of people who come in just to buy these things, so we need them. The other thing I wanted to mention is, on behalf of the Compassion Care team, we're sending Burl some cards, and I put 3 cards out at the round table with pens, so please sign your name or say something funny or anything, because he's moving to Heart Heritage Assisted Living tomorrow, and he's not going to be there too long, probably, but he's he's during this transition, he needs to hear from us and how much love we have for him. And it means so much to him. He talks about the cards all the time. So thank you.
Coming up next weekend, we honor the legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and there are 4 special events.
So first, plan to attend the NAACP Freedom Brunch at Harford County Community College, 10 a.m. this coming Saturday. The link for tickets is in the most recent News Bites email, and anyone who needs a scholarship ticket, please reach out to me, the Social Justice committee is making funds available for scholarship tickets for the NAACP event.
Our own worship service at the usual time next Sunday will have songs and readings that recall the life of Dr. King.
And on Sunday afternoon, there's a special worship service sponsored by Black Lives UU for Black Unitarian Universalists. It starts at 4 p.m. at the UU congregation of Rockville, Maryland, and it's also on Zoom. Check the most recent news bites for more information and a link. And if you're not a Black UU, be an ally and forward this information to your friends who are.
And on Monday, not tomorrow, but next Monday, right here and on Zoom at 1:30 p.m., we have a special program about the civil rights movement in Harford County. The featured speaker is Harford Community College professor Dr. James Carville, who directs this college's civil rights project.
In our life together, this coming weekend is a wonderful learning opportunity to celebrate the legacy of Dr. King and his message of liberating love.
So if you're on site, please stay after the service for coffee, refreshments, and informal conversation today. And if you're a newcomer, you are especially encouraged to stay. And for those on site, please remember to take a moment to sign those cards for our members who are homebound or in the hospital, just right outside those doors. And for everyone participating online, Zoom will continue so you can socialize with the others that are online, but you're going to have to BYOC. Coffee.
During the month of January, our worship and learning theme is liberating love. Today, we consider how love opens the door to self-liberation. May the sound of the bell and the message of the song, Find the Light, guide us to a place of open-heartedness and reverence as we begin our worship together.
I wish upon your peace. I wish upon your grace. I wish for less of what you want and more of what you need. I wish upon you an old life with a heart that stays young. But most of all, I wish upon your love. Wish upon your truth when all you feel is doubt. I hope you know that an open mind still knows when to shut things out. I wish upon you a brave heart that will always rise above. Most of all, I wish upon your love. And even even in the darkness, you'll find the light. You'll find the light. You'll find the light. Yes, even in the darkness, you'll find the light. I wish upon you an easy life. I wish upon you hard times. I hope you know that both joy and pain each need their moment to shine. I wish you ears that are quick to listen and you're slow to use your tongue. But most of all, I wish upon your love. And even as the sun sets, the moon begins to rise. So even in the darkness, you'll find the light. You'll find the light. Yes, even in the darkness, you'll find the light.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Brenna. Each Sunday, we light the chalice of our religious heritage. We do this for our ancestors who taught us through their various religious traditions and by their actions for justice and hope. We do this for our children who are learning the traditions we teach and who learn more from our actions than from our words. We do this for ourselves so that we are inspired to remember our beginnings, reflect on who we are now, and spread our wings as we understand who we seek to become.
Let there be light. There's that flame. Our call to worship this morning is New Year's Day by Kathleen McTigg, one of our Unitarian Universalist ministers. The 1st of January is another day dawning, the sun rising as the sun always rises, the earth moving in its rhythms. With or without our calendars to name a certain day as the day of a new beginning, it happens separating the old from the new. So it is. Everything is the same, bound into its history as we are bound. Yet we also stand at a threshold. The new year's something new, truly new, still unformed, leaving a stunning power in our hands. What shall we do with this great gift of time this year? Let us begin by remembering that whatever justice, whatever peace and wholeness might bloom in our world this year, we are the hearts and minds, the hands and feet, the embodiment of all the best visions of our people. The new year can be new ground for the seeds of our dreams. Let us take the step forward together onto new ground, planting our dreams well, faithfully, and in joy. And now please rise or remain seated as you are comfortable as we sing hymn number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We'll sing it through 3 times.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Please be seated. Today, in our time for all ages, our story is called Opening the Door. Eli is locked in a dungeon under the castle,
That's me. I'm Eli.
and Eli is trying to wake up the dungeon door. And the door says, "That's me.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
the door.
It's true.
The door was a heavy oak door with an iron frame created centuries ago by an overzealous carpenter. The edges were carefully fitted to lie flush against the stained stone walls, and the heavy boards were nailed together so tightly that not even the flickering torchlight could wedge between them. Eli ran his fingers over the door, long fingers gently tapping. At last, the door gave a little shudder, and in a dusty, splintery voice said,
What do you want?
My dear friend, the real question here is, what do you want?
Pardon?
Doesn't it strike you as unfair? Here you are, locked up through no fault of your own, shut off from the sun by cruel stones, with no concern at all for your comfort or continued health.
Well, I don't mind telling you the nails do poke a bit. I don't mind the dark so much or the damp. It's just that people are always slamming me, and that drives the nails, the sharp ends, even deeper. It hurts something awful, but no one seems to care.
Let me have a look.
The door waited impatiently, creaking every time Eli's hands brushed over a spot where the nails rubbed. Finally, the door began to grow impatient.
Well?
I found the answer. Those nails, which give you so much trouble, are there to pin you to the iron frame. However, they are not glued in. They don't stay in there of their own accord since there's no hook. In fact, they seem to be held in place only by the pressure of the wood around them. So the reason they stay in at all, the only reason, is because you are holding on to them.
Well, of course. How else would I stay upright?
Who said you had to stay upright? You're your own spirit, aren't you? If those nails hurt you, why, there's no law that you have to put up with it.
But they've been in me a long time.
The first step is always admitting that you have a problem. And that's enough for now. But if you're ever going to live your life, really live it, then you don't need to let go of the role. Then you will need to let go of the roles others have forced on you. You need to let go of those nails.
But I don't know.
Come on, it doesn't have to be forever. Just give it a try.
The door clanged softly against its frame, gathering its resolve as Eli made encouraging gestures. Then, with a loud bang, the nails popped like corks and the boards clattered to the ground. A moment later, Eli stepped over the sprawled boards and escaped from the dungeon. And now let's sing together hymn number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." Please rise or remain seated as is comfortable for you.
Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be free, tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, to be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be free, tis a gift to come down where we want to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, to be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn
Each Sunday, we receive our offering to support the mission of this congregation, here where we care for one another and we extend our love and care into the wider community through actions for love and for justice. Your contributions allow this congregation to reach out to all who seek a life-affirming message of liberating love. If you're online, just click the Zoom link, in the chat box to make a contribution. And if you are on site, you can place a donation in the baskets, which I will be carrying around in a moment. Or you can use your device to find the link on uufhc.net or on the Fellowship app. And whatever method of giving that you choose, your generosity helps to grow a healthier, more joyful UU community. And in keeping with our religious heritage, to draw the circle of love and liberation a little bit wider.
In this worship service that invites us to lean even more deeply into our mission as Unitarian Universalists, we also renew our commitment as a community to respond out of deep care for one another. Now is the time to briefly share a joy, a sorrow, a gratitude, something you carry deeply within your heart this morning. If you're on site in the sanctuary, please come to the front and speak into the microphone. And Kim will light a candle for you. If you're on Zoom, put in the chat the message that you'd like to share, and Brenna will read it out as Kim lights a candle. A few gentle reminders. This is not a time for announcements or politics. Say your name, your first name is fine. Please share from your heart and from your own experience, and be mindful not to share anyone else's experience unless you have their express permission to do so. Would anyone like to share?
I'm like one of those Japanese bowls that were made long ago. I have some cracks in me. They have been filled with gold. That's what they used back then when they had a bowl to mend. It did not hide the cracks. It made them shine instead. So now every old scar shows from every time I broke, and anyone's eyes can see I'm not what I used to be. But in a collector's mind, all of these jagged lines make me more beautiful and worth a higher price. like one of those Japanese bowls I was made long ago. I have some cracks you can see. See how they shine of gold.
In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness grow inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? And then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you, though your destination is not clear. You can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses that the world awaits you.
Beloveds, it is a staple of New Year's sermons to present each new year as a chance to wipe the old slate clean, to start fresh, to set new goals and lay the groundwork necessary to reach them. And to be candid, it's also a time to quote Yogi Berra relentlessly. Yogi Berra, that inimitable baseball player, he went to the World Series 10 times as a catcher and 3 times as a coach. The beginning of a new year is a time to consider where we're going because, as Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. To know where we're going also probably means looking back to where we've been. After all, January is named for Janus, who looks backward and forward at the same time. So to be explicit, the idea of a clean slate beginning to the new year isn't actually a good idea. Oh yes, please do forgive yourself and let go of some of those old mistakes that still haunt you. But don't even try to erase them. Instead, think about filling those cracks with gold. The old, messy, scribbled over slate ultimately has more value than a clean slate. Although people often talk about the idea of a clean slate as a metaphor for starting fresh, it's a grim metaphor when it's applied to a human being. Think of someone with Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is the slow erosion of all the writing on the old slate. It's as if someone dribbled water all over the chalk of memory, bit by bit clearing away parts in no particular order. There's no control over what is forgotten and what is remembered. It's a clean slate achieved in a painfully slow loss that no one could desire. I know my father had Alzheimer's. My entire family embraced my dad's illness with a determination to make each interaction with him as positive and emotional experience as possible, on the theory that the positive emotion of love and connection will outlast specific memories. One Christmas morning, when Dad's Alzheimer's was well established, but before he needed to go into residential care, I was assigned to pick up my parents from their retirement community and drive them to my sister's house. For me, this meant a venture into the winding back ways of rural Maryland. So I downloaded a GPS to my iPad and set off to get my parents. As I drove, it occurred to me that my dad, who was always fascinated with maps and navigation, might enjoy the GPS readout. So as my parents got into the car, I settled Dad into the front passenger seat, handed him the iPad with strict instructions to hold it by the sides and not to let his fingers touch the display. This took some practice. And off we went. It was an amazing experience. Dad, looking at the map and seeing the little arrow of the car, knew exactly what was happening. He was able to understand that this was like a live map, and he was thrilled with the voice of the GPS telling him, in 2 blocks, turn right. And he repeatedly said in wonderment, how does she know that it's coming up in 2 blocks? And at one point he turned to my mom, who was sitting in the back seat, and he said, why didn't you ever figure out how to tell me that the turn was just 2 blocks away? It was just incredible. And over the years, as I've reflected on Dad's reaction to the iPad and his first experience of GPS navigation, it has seemed to me that it's a good illustration of how difficult, if not impossible, it is, even for those of us without memory loss, to start with a clean slate. There he was, with Alzheimer's, with no real understanding of his destination, even forgetting that it was Christmas Day. But Dad grasped the idea of assisted navigation just as firmly as he held that iPad. His understanding of maps as a way of getting places and the difficulty with knowing just when to turn, even with the best co-pilot holding an excellent map, those memories were deeply embedded in his brain. It was an experience that was part of him because he had years of experience flying an airplane, driving long distances for vacations, exploring in the wilderness, and touring new places and experiencing new things. And it was because of those layers of experience that the GPS and the live interactive map thrilled him. We humans, regardless of intellectual ability, share this quality of the brain. All the things that have happened in our lives are layered into the brain structure, even without specific memories or the ability to recall them. Our brains store information as emotional experience. Here's an example. We may forget the painful incident when, as a 3-year-old, we touched that hot stove, but we know to keep our hands away from the burners. That hot stove reaction is a safeguard. It uses an old emotional experience to keep us from future injury. It's a good thing. And it has a downside. When people talk about wiping the slate clean, they may be expressing a desire to eliminate a negative emotional reaction that keeps them from moving forward, keeps them from doing the things they hope to do, or keeps them from becoming the people they long to be. Emotions like fear, aversion, and anxiety are often rooted in long ago traumatic experiences. It may require the help of professional therapists to discover, examine, and lay to rest the emotional demons embedded long ago. For many of us, those experiences we'd like to forget or even do forget keep us from moving forward. Yet they're also within our own capability to consider and accept. If we are willing to examine them, we may find liberation. The messy scribbled over human brain, that slate that is the human brain, has much that's of value, even though some experiences and most mistakes are uncomfortable and not exactly the memories we'd seek out to recount at a New Year's party. We'd like to wall them up and forget them. It was Emerson who said that every wall is a door. And this is my point about the value of preserving the messy scribbles on the old slate. The very things we'd rather forget have forged us. They are part of who we are. Every wall we've ever run into is a struggle we've survived or a problem we've solved, or maybe something we've run away from. And we might like just to forget those hard times, but that would be wiping off the surface of the slate. But in the brain, how those experiences affect us is something to understand and remember. By looking carefully at each of the uncomfortable memories, by asking the question, what can I learn from that experience? It's possible to discover exactly what's needed to move forward toward the life we long to live. Those broken places, those healed over cracks, create a human who has lived, stumbled, and grown more beautiful. So let's return to Yogi Berra for a moment. Yogi played minor league baseball before World War II on a Yankees farm team, he earning $500 a year. Then came Pearl Harbor. Yogi enlisted. He fought the landing on Omaha Beach. He fought in North Africa, and Italy, and he survived. After the war, Yogi Berra returned to minor league baseball on another Yankees farm team. And just a few months later, the Giants manager saw him play and offered the Yankees $50,000 for him. The Yankees manager didn't even know who Yogi Giants was enough to make him pay attention. And Yogi began playing Major League Baseball for the Yankees. He had a spectacular career and was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame more than 20 years before he finally retired from baseball. So think about Yogi Berra and consider the experience of war. Not something to remember and cherish, yet it's also not something that can be forgotten or put lightly aside. Surely it shaped him. Surely after Omaha Beach, a pitch coming at 95 miles per hour was nothing to fear. The experiences we have least enjoyed may well hold the key to our dreams. They shape our character whether we want them to or not. The control we have, the opportunity, is to take those experiences and to mine them for the gold they contain. We can take another lesson from Yogi Berra's book and remember his advice. You can observe a lot by watching. When we watch ourselves at a distance in time, move through that old struggle and difficulty, we can perhaps discover what there is to learn about survival, courage, and resilience. Rather than resist those old bad memories, we can know them and move beyond them. They may actually become a door that we pass through to claim our dream. It's a human legacy to hold a dream before us as a guide, a vision, a commitment. Even if we can't know what lies ahead, we can equip ourselves to take the next step and the next toward what we long for. My New Year's message isn't so much about facing the future unafraid. It's about facing the past unafraid as we move intentionally into the future. When I look back on my father's declining years, with Alzheimer's gradually eroding his abilities, what stands out is the loving relationships he wove throughout his lifetime. When there was little else, when his vast intellectual capacity had vanished, what remained was the deep emotional connections with my mother, with each of his children, with his friends. The look in his eyes, the smile, the clasping of hands. Even when no words are left, if the words, "I love you," have been repeated often enough, they will resound in the soul. Even when it appears that the slate is entirely clean, there is no tabula rasa. And love endures and is felt beyond memory and even beyond death. Love, more than intellect, more than memory, lasts beyond a human lifetime. And within one human life, what is most cherished, most robust, is the warmth of human community. It may be a small community like family, friends, or a large community like a congregation. What makes the most significant impression in any community, what leaves the deepest, most lasting mark, is love. In our Unitarian Universalist congregation, we share values. These values are central to our life together. We cherish them. As a community, we commit ourselves to them. And it's the love we feel for those values, the love that extends to how we feel about one another, the love that empowers us to live our values so that that love spreads out into the world. So, dear ones, let us not make the new year a time of puny resolutions. Instead, let us use it to remind ourselves of our deeper commitments, the resolve that leads us to build a life, a faith community, a better world. Every moment is a chance to cherish the love we receive and strengthen the love we give. Love is the road. So let's all follow Yogi Berra's advice. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. And now, Let's sing hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken. Rise or remain seated as you are comfortable.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden's all plain. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Please be seated. A benediction is in the words of Howard Thurman from his little piece called High Resolve. In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of the holy, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in good times or in tempests, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. May it be so for all of us. Amen, and blessed be.
Amen.
And now we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into all the world.
Sunday morning, I heard the preacher say, thou shalt not kill. I don't wanna hear nothing else about killing, and that it's God's will. 'Cause our children are watching us, they put their trust in us, they're gonna be like us. So let's learn from our history and do it differently. I hope for more love, more joy and laughter. I hope we'll have more than we ever need. I hope we'll have more happy ever afters. I hope we can all live more fearlessly, and we can lose all the pain and misery. I hope Rosie, her man gets too rough. That's all she can say. But he's a good man, he don't mean no harm. He was just brought up that way. But our children are watching us, they put their trust in us, they're gonna be like us. It's okay for us to disagree, we can work it out lovingly. I hope for more love, more joy and laughter. I hope we'll have
for bringing snacks, refreshments to the Martin Luther King service in